Second Conference on ESPN. Tonight from the city of brotherly love, we tip off the new season of college basketball with a classic Philly Big Five matchup featuring the LaSalle Explorers against the Temple Owls. With Tim Welsh, I'm Dave Leno, and Tim, what a way to start the season with two city schools separated by just 5 miles competing in Big Five play.
Coaches aren't that thrilled about playing this heated game this early in the season, but listen, you've got to show your wares early and often in the Big Five, and these teams are ready. At LaSalle, coming off a poor season a year ago, reloaded. Temple, young, but still aggressive.
It's the 117th meeting between the schools. Temple, in fact, has won 18 of the last 22 meetings. LaSalle will be donning the road blue uniforms. Conversely, Temple will be in the home whites. Rick Crawford, Garrick Shannon, and Mark Ellard are the officials this evening. And Crawford will throw it up at mid in Etchionia and Washington.
Is on the bench with the Achilles injury, so early and often Alani Moore has got to run the show for Fran Dunphy's team.
Hails from the D.C. area. In fact, a lot of programs were after him. Here's Shiz Austin Jr. strong on the attempt.
They'll have to make some shots from the perimeter because Temple doesn't have many go-to guys on the box.
Too far for Saul Fury. In fact, 2 freshmen are starting in Dees and Fury. Johnson and Henry, the 2 transfers, are on the bench, and a Flackby was held by Washington. So there's Temple's coach, Fran Dunphy, and this year he says that they have the least experienced backcourt, and that's because you mentioned the Josh Brown injury and also Trey Lowe, who sustained a car accident in February.
Well, that was a tough situation for Temple with no experience basically in the backcourt, as Alston was on the team a year ago but didn't play that much, and there you see the big guy with a little added twist to his game.
That's Obi and Etchionia. He'll be called upon multiple times this season, likely to be the leading scorer for the Owls.
He's mostly a face-up player, likes to spend and do his work on the perimeter.
Powell in and out, and the rebound to an Etchionia. Here's one of the captains, Daniel Dingle. And the dish over to a Flackby.
Well, you can see LaSalle's lack of experience out there on the floor. You mentioned Johnson and Henry not starting, but more surprising is that their leading scorer from a year ago, Jordan Price, also on the bench to start the game.
Dees for 3, and he connects.
I really like Isaiah Dees. I think he is a good-looking freshman along with Fury, and John Giannini is throwing them right into the fire of the Big Five early.
And Etchionia was fouled right at the free throw line by Pookie Powell. Will be the second team foul on LaSalle. There's Dr. John Giannini. In fact, he doesn't want to talk about last year. He calls it an aberration. They had just a dismal 9-win season, but an influx of talent this year.
When you win 9 games, you don't normally want to talk about it with the media or with your fan base, but I'm sure he's mentioned it to his team. We have a lot to prove this year.
Dingle came up short, and there was Washington. There's Pookie Powell, who ran the show at Memphis a few years ago. Washington taking a Flackby with a good spin.
Well, you can see that LaSalle has an influx of talent and depth. They have 11 good players. So last year's 9-win season really was an aberration. John has run a very, very good program. Who can forget the Sweet 16 run? Every year, they're very rock solid. Look for them to be in the middle towards the top of the Atlantic 10 this year.
Under 10 to shoot for Dingle. Taking on Fury. Strong on the attempt of Flackby with the offensive board. Alani Moore for 3.
Alani Moore is a good-looking player, but first of all, you saw Dingle and his experience getting all the way to the rim. LaSalle has to close the door quicker.
Temple quiets the 5-0 run from LaSalle. Here's Cleon Roberts driving in with the right hand, came up short. A Flackby wrestles it away. And a call against the Explorers. We'll go against Roberts.
You can see the physicality of Temple bothering LaSalle at this point in the game, and you are going to have to make some contested twos against Temple. It's very difficult to get all the way from the three-point line to the rim against their stingy defense.
So here's Shiz Austin Jr. Last year went by Levan Sean Austin Jr. Just going by Shiz this go around, working with Daniel Dingle. Taking on Roberts. Austin Jr. for three. A flat paid with the offensive board.
Right now, Temple is just getting anything they want around the basket just by using sheer physical power.
Washington with his right hand.
You could see Temple, they really attack the ball as it gets into the paint. The secondary and the third defender come and attack and get in the way and show contest at the rim.
And this is an area, Tim, where Temple really wants to excel in its half court, and all eyes is certainly on the least experienced backcourt under Fran Dunphy at Temple. A flat B.
Just a nice passing, extra pass by Temple. Good spacing, find the open man on the weak side.
Pookie Powell with his second attempt for three, came up short, and Alani Moore will look to push. Moore in transition, backs it out wisely, and now will hoist it two. His foot was on the line. Officials will review it, however, but it is, as of now, a two.
Alani Moore not showing that it, or acting like he's a freshman, just pushing the ball inside, weaving it back out, knocking it down.
With an influx of talent for Dr. John Giannetti and LaSalle this year with all those transfers.
Well, he's got some transfers. We haven't seen him yet, though. We saw Pookie Powell, but B.J. Johnson has not been in the game yet, and Demetrius Henry, and then Jordan Price hasn't been in the game. He's their best player. So John wants you to win the day, win practice. So that's the way he teaches and runs his program, and it's been successful, so you cannot question it. But right now they're in a hole, so they need their big guns to step up, and you see Price is in the game along with Johnson.
Yeah, important to note that Johnson and Henry both started at Syracuse and South Carolina. The same with Pookie Powell. So these guys didn't sit on the bench at their former schools. In fact, were at LaSalle, donning an Explorers jersey last year, albeit practicing, sitting out due to NCAA transfer rules. Price now in the game, and that's his first attempt.
Like letting the game come to you, Bryce, as soon as he put those mitts on the ball, and that's what he is. He's a scorer. He's going to find ways to put the ball in the hole.
Little inside out to Alani Moore. He's strong, and there's Amar Stooks, who just checked in as well, in addition to Price. Gives it up for Price. Back-to-back attempts for him, and it rattles home.
Well, that's how you get in the flow of the game. First two times you touch it, fire it up.
Jordan Price, in fact, led the team in scoring the last 2 years for LaSalle. Baseline Jay Froston Jr.
Well, that was a nice move by Alston. He let the game come to him instead of forcing things like he did earlier in this game. But nice little cut move, a little pin down move on the baseline with a head fake.
Foul here on Alani Moore. So you got two experienced guys in the game now, Tim, in Amar Stooks and also Jordan Price, giving the freshman a breather who started in D's and Fury.
Well, I like Stooks, and so does John Genie. He's very good, very solid with the basketball. I think last year he's supposed to be step up a little bit, but he's more of a role player. Now he's playing with better talent. I think he'll have a better season.
And there's one of the freshmen in D's. Cuts it to a Temple 4-point advantage. And Echionia.
Echionia can do that and add that to his game, which we've seen twice already. The little left-handed jump hook, he is going to be a tough out because we know what he can do from the perimeter facing.
Here's Demetrius Henry, and he's short. He comes from South Carolina, and then Echionia stood his ground. In fact, Obi's going to be one of those players really going to be called upon, especially with that patented jump shot.
Absolutely, and he's going to take those threes, but you see early, Fran Dunphy has gone to him on the low box.
Flackboy again gets another offensive rebound. Tried to go up and under Henry, but he stood his ground, and here comes Stooks to push.
Well, that's not a Flackby's game. He really struggles to finish down low.
D's for three again, and that's his second tray of the night, and cuts it to a 3-point lead for Temple.
Just like a day in the park in Brooklyn. Isaiah Dees, no problem playing college basketball. First game, thrown into the fire, making things happen.
And a foul here on Amar Stoops. And 14 fouls here for LaSalle. And Echionia for three. And his first triple.
We talked about that piece of his game, and you wondered when he was going to step out, and that ball just comes off his hand perfectly from the perimeter.
Yeah, had a pretty good year last year as well, and there's Demetrius Henry, and he'll go to the line.
Well, LaSalle fans should be very excited about this season. It may take a while for this team to gel. I mean, they have so many new pieces, and you might say, well, these pieces were there a year ago, but not competitively, not out there with the lights on and the scoreboard running. And the thing about Demetrius Henry, he's going to learn how to play with B.J. Johnson, also how to play with Jordan Price and where he wants the ball. There you saw his ability to finish in traffic, taking a hit.
And he's an X factor as well for LaSalle, because he could be a guy that can go from 15 to 30 minutes a game depending on the matchups.
Well, there's no doubt about it. And you see, this is a big, solid, long team. And in the Atlantic 10, I think they will fare very well, especially they're playing a very solid early season schedule.
Austin Jr. will go to the line. Also, Quentin Rose, a freshman guard from the Rochester, New York area, also checked in for Temple. And the second consecutive personal foul on Amar Stoops.
You see this, LaSalle likes to run this play. It's a little zipper play off the high post, and then Alston gets his man on his hip, feels it, does a nice job of reading the defender, and just turns the corner and finds the angle to the rim.
Pookie Powell will come back in for the aforementioned Stoops. And an important year for Alston Jr. in particular, because Trey Lowe sustained a car accident in February, so Alston has to make up those points.
Well, he does, and the thing is, you're playing with a new leader, a new quarterback out there on the floor, so that's another X factor. But so far, Alani Moore looks very confident, finding his own shot, but also running the team.
Trey Lowe redshirting this year. Here's Price taking a Flackby and a kiss off the window.
Well, those are the type of shots you need to make against Temple, because as you get into the teeth of the defense, they're going to send that secondary defender at you. But Price, with a high degree of difficulty, that's his game. Toughness in the lane.
Quentin Rose for three. And his first college attempt is strong, and here's Pookie Powell.
A little quick for Rose off the bench. I think Dunph liked that shot.
Two can take the lead here for LaSalle for the first time. They isolate Henry, taking a Flackby. Johnson for three. Quentin Rose, stop pop from the elbow.
That's a better measured look for Quentin Rose. He took it in transition, took his time, felt the defense collapsing, made that little mid-ranger.
He's not going to be a vocal leader. He'll let his game do the talking. That's what he told the media prior to the season. But a lot of Temple fans will be enthusiastic about him this year, no question. Here's Johnson, blazing past a Flackboy with his left hand.
That's the move B.J. Johnson can make. He had a little space there with the left, all the way into the lane. Felt the help, but he's got great length at 6'8", shot right over the top.
Ten to shoot for Alston. Strong on the three, and there's Dees. Dees will tee up another three.
John Giannini did not like that shot at all, and that's going to send Isaiah Dees over to the sideline for a little chat with the doctor.
Temple just 2 of 8 from 3 last year. They called upon Devin Coleman to deliver from way beyond. In addition to DeCozy, they're not here this year. What a move from Daniel Dingle to get the roll.
Daniel Dingle has that in his game, where if you give him some space at the top, one-on-one, he can finish at the rim. 3 will tie here for Johnson, in and out. A Flackby at better position that time over Henry. Neil Dingle is an experienced veteran and used to coming off the bench. He's got to deliver as a starter this year for Temple.
Yeah, you know the rest. Well, now's your shot to live up to the hype, to prove yourself on the greatest stage in front of the biggest crowd against the best. The Champions Classic doubleheader with the College Football Playoff Top 25 reveal between games. All live from New York City, Tuesday on ESPN.
These teams have combined to win 18 NCAA Division I men's basketball championships since 1935. And really exciting for Duke as they return their junior guard in Grayson Allen.
Grayson Allen, Emil Jefferson is back. I mean, Duke is loaded for bear again. Obviously, Chase Jeter, Luke Kennard, and what a night you'll have. And how about Michigan State and Arizona and Kansas? Not only playing in the Champions Classic, but they're playing right now out in Hawaii. And Michigan State is, as Tom Izzo has done for years, and every coach that has ever walked the sideline said, you are out of your mind playing this schedule, but he knows how to manage his schedule, and they will be ready in February as always because of the tough slate they play early.
Yeah, they're looking to avenge an early upset in the NCAA tournament last year to Middle Tennessee State as Izzo is entering his 22nd year at the helm of the Spartans program. Here at the Liacouras Center in Philadelphia, Big Five action. Dave Litto, Tim Welsh, our entire ESPN crew. Temple leading by 3 over the LaSalle Explorers. And Echionia for a jumper.
Well, Temple's got good production early, not only from Obi Echionia, which they need every night, but from the Flackby is Ernest Flackby's not a guy that's kind of go-to, but he's made some good moves around the basket early, and Temple's had very good balance with their offense so far.
Fouls on Washington, his second to the dismay of Dr. John Giannini, who's very ecstatic about this year. His team right now only trailing by 3. But, Tim, they've been making a concerted effort in Temple to get the ball to a Flackby in the post.
Well, I think they have a mismatch down there just because of not only the size, but the girth of Temple's big guys. That's a little bit of a force.
Deep 2 for an Echionia. That was good defense that time from Johnson, and here comes Price. Spinning away from Dingle. And Jordan Price will go to the foul line.
As the game progresses, Jordan Price is going to get into the flow, but you can see what his mindset is. It's not to rack up assists. He's going to get the ball, and he sees one thing, iron.
First foul on Dan Dingle.
So he's going to beat his initial defender, and Dingle's the best matchup for Temple against Jordan Price. But the problem that as Price will see as the game progresses, Temple will make adjustments, and if he doesn't look to pass the ball when he drives from the outside, he is going to see a sea of white jerseys attack him, and it's going to be very difficult for him to get clean looks at the rim.
And they say Price is just as good of a passer as he is a phenomenal shooter, too.
Well, he had 92 assists last year, so he's not a selfish player, but he looks hungry tonight, that's for sure. Maybe that's because he came off the bench.
First attempt from Williams is strong, coming off the bench tonight, and here's Pookie Powell. Over to Price, a good dish down to the Henry, was swatted away by an Echionia.
Well, there was a good feel and good read by Jordan Price. As you just mentioned, Dave, just the ability to be unselfish when need be. And that's the sign of an excellent player. And here, just filling the lane, he feels the defense. Temple is sending the second and third defender at him. And before they can rotate back on the weak side, a good dish and a foul and finish at the rim by Henry.
Yeah, good calls. You saw the contact from an Echionia and Henry at the free throw line where he was a 2-year starter at South Carolina. Of course, sat out last year at LaSalle. And how tough is that for the coaching staff? Now you're thrusting these guys into the lineup after just practicing a year ago.
Well, you know, the thing is it's a little easier than throwing some of these fifth-year guys in there that have never practiced with you. At least you know what you have. They're familiar with the environment, with their teammates, your coaching style. They've gone through a year of you being taught by you what you want out there on the floor. So I think that'll be easier for LaSalle than most.
And Dingle gives the lead back to Temple with the 3.
John's not happy on the sidelines. Understand you cannot go underneath those screens on Dingle. He can make you pay, as you saw. Good composure, reading the screen.
Powell out to Johnson for the tie. So here comes the freshman, Quentin Rose. And a palming violation called against Rose. Will go back to LaSalle.
You see some of the inexperience in spots on both sides of the floor. With Rose is a world of talent. You see his athleticism. He's very long. He's good in transition. Just trying to make things happen a little too quickly. I think Temple's better served now as Fran Dunphy sees this, putting Alani Moore back in the game. Let him control the ball, make the decisions, and let everyone else try to go to score after he distributes.
So Powell working with Johnson here for LaSalle. Isaiah Dees, the freshman, back on the floor. Dishes it off to Fury, the other freshman. Off of Moore, that's a good play by B.J. Johnson. Saturday's schedule features the top 3 teams of the college football playoff rankings, who are all unbeaten at 9-0. The highly touted matchups begin at noon Eastern on ESPN as Mississippi State, coming off an upset win over Texas A&M, takes on #1 Alabama. Then at 3:30 Eastern on ABC, Pitt travels to #2 Clemson. And the nightcap out of the Big Ten, Iowa hosts #3 Michigan at 8 Eastern on ABC. All 3 games are on ESPN and also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. Here's Henry. Alani Moore showing his speed, rejected by Henry. Dees in transition. Powell for a 2-ball.
Good push by LaSalle, but Temple answered defensively, really ran back and got their defense set in the lane.
Temple now clinging to its 3-point advantage. A little under 7.5 to go here in the first half. Rose is rejected that time from Saul Fury, the freshman. Dees will find Powell. And it was too strong on the attempt. And LaSalle will look to resurrect the possession here with Pookie Powell, under 20 to shoot.
Again, an excellent job by Temple after a forced shot by Ross to run back, sprint back, get the defense set.
Johnson driving in.
He's so smooth. You see there, B.J. Johnson, the lefty, just floated with ease with the right hand and with that little mid-range shot. That's an improvement from his days at Syracuse.
And we see Saul back down to a 1-point lead for Temple. Williams for 3. Can't get the roll. And that time Isaiah Dees cleans up.
Good job by Rose moving his feet on the defensive end.
Henry taking a flack boy, and for the first time tonight, LaSalle has the advantage.
Well, Demetrius Henry doing an excellent job of just carving out space, just burying a flackby underneath the rim and finishing right over the top.
Give Henry 6 tonight. Dingle finding a cutting Williams, and he's fouled by Henry. LaSalle has the lead at the Liacouras Center on the road. Going to go through Obi and Echionia tonight.
Well, he's done a nice job early because you know that Obi Echionia can shoot the ball from the outside, but here showing an array of moves around the basket, put the ball on the floor. He posted up in the mid-post area, finding his man, creating a little space. Move with the left, also can knock in the threes, but right now Temple back on their heels. Their offense has not been in rhythm, and LaSalle's depth has been a key factor and component right now for John Janney. And the thing is, when you go into the season and it's a kind of a new team, so to speak, where you have a lot of new pieces you have to try to fit, and you've got good players, and you've got, as John would say, we have 11 good players. Now sometimes in the first few games of the year you're trying to figure out who to play, because you don't have that 1 or 3 or 4 guys that really have extended themselves over everybody else. I mean, they've got 2 really good freshmen, and they both started tonight. And you've got Jordan Price and then pretty much everybody else. Now, who else is going to step up and get the major minutes? And John so far has done a nice job of mixing and matching his rotations against Temple's tough defense.
Lane violation was called against Temple, so back to LaSalle's. We're even at 28. And Powell running the point as Jordan Price is back into it. And also for the first time, Yevgen Sakniuk out of Ukraine is in wearing number 12 with the ball here. Powell scooting inside, and a foul.
I've seen Pookie Powell play in his freshman year at Memphis quite a bit. You saw the talent and the ability to run the team, score at times, but sometimes it really questioned his decision making. And I think a year sitting out under Dr. John Giannini really helped him understand, where to find his shots, when to go, when to slow. Their good job of reading the defense, waiting, take what the defense gives you, and then attack.
There's the other games in our ESPN networks, highlighted by number 11 Indiana against number 3 Kansas. Of course, Kansas has won 12 consecutive Big 12 titles.
Harvard and Stanford. I'm glad we're not doing that game, David. Too many guys smarter than us out on the floor.
Well, here's going to go against LaSalle, so we'll be in a 1-and-1 situation here for Temple. Another look at it.
A very good read by LaSalle defensively, just to attack on the high-low. Even though they fouled, they're doing a better job of understanding that weak side help. And both teams really doing a good job of making adjustments. And you can see that both teams are very, very smart, well-schooled, not only in what their coaches want, but the concepts of the game. They're starting to share the ball a little bit more. And then defensively, you see the rotations on the backside. Very, very good. That time, Temple just did a good job of forcing the issue down low.
How does Annecchionia in particular handle the pressure levied on his shoulders this year?
I think it's Fran Dunphy. It's having a coach like that understands, what buttons to push, how much a player can take as far as being a leader on and off the floor. And Fran's been very happy. And then there you see Rose and his ability to get up.
Alston, blazing past Price.
That's a very, very good understanding, too, of when to go, when to slow. Early in this game, Alston forced the issue, but you could see his maturity there of playing a year in this system, finding his way to the rim.
And that's a good dive that time. B.J. Johnson compliments of Jordan Price.
B.J. Johnson is going to be a tough out in the Atlantic 10. There's no doubt about it, because he has added an array of moves to his game. He's known as a three-point shooter, but now he's putting the ball on deck and finishing at the rim.
Rose with a baseline drive. It was tipped away from Dees, but Annecchionia cleans up beautifully.
He's showing some good physicality in the lane tonight. Not just a guy out on the perimeter.
Long three from Price. It's in and out. Annecchionia was there. Moore will look to push. Had Williams streaking to the hoop. Instead keeps it wisely with his left hand. It's swatted away. B.J. Johnson says no.
Well, sometimes you talk about chemistry and infiltrating a lot of new pieces into your program. And it's not just on the offensive end, it's on the defensive end of the floor as well. And Dr. John Giannini really stresses help defense, team defense, as does Temple. They kind of have the same philosophy. And here you see they are attacking the basketball when it gets in the lane.
Alston with the fadeaway came up short. Foul will go against Temple. We'll walk the floor. Temple with the lead here at the Liacouras Center. Last year with 27-9, but here at Philly in Big 5 play, Temple has a 1-point lead over LaSalle, coached by Fran Dunphy, who, oh, by the way, played as a LaSalle Explorer from 1967 to 70. In fact, he averaged 18.6 points a game and led the club in assists as a senior. And, of course, after his playing days, was an assistant coach at LaSalle as well. So someone who knows a lot about Big 5 basketball.
Well, let's not forget that he was a tremendous, as he would say, a tremendous baseball player. Not talking about himself. He always says, that's tremendous. It's one of Fran's sayings. Never talking about himself. One of the most humble guys you've ever met, and maybe the most well-liked guy in college basketball. No, I've never heard anyone say anything negative about him, and rightfully so. Just a Mr. Big 5.
Of course, before Temple, 17 years at the helm of Penn. And then out there for Sakniuk. and in fact surpassed John Chaney for all-time Big Five wins last season.
Well, the Big Five obviously is one of the best events in college basketball. It's an ongoing event that keeps it fresh in Philadelphia all season long, and these guys go at it, but they do a great job of watching out for each other and protecting Philadelphia's basketball turf. That's what you like about it. Competitive and hard fought, but respectful.
Big Five title breakdown there with Temple leading Villanova. In fact, Villanova has won the last 3 Big Five titles, and in fact, 15 consecutive Big Five winners have advanced to the NCAA tournament. Here's Sackniuk, kicks out to Johnson, extra pass for Dees, a baseline jumper is good.
He is a good-looking freshman. He just took his time, little pump fake, saw the defense, read it, made that little half-turn move on the baseline, bang.
We're flip-flopping here in Philly. LaSalle has a 1-point edge. They isolated Echionia. It was double team that time from Sackniuk. Williams is rejected again from Johnson. That's his 2nd block tonight. And we'll get a held ball. Alternating possession will go the opposite way. Back to LaSalle.
Well, the door opened for Williams on the baseline, and B.J. Johnson just came out of nowhere, and you see the athleticism. And Williams, just the reach. But Johnson cleaning up the mess at the rim.
So Williams will take a seat. Still hasn't scored tonight. Quentin Rose, the freshman from Rochester, is back in. Another highly touted youngster, along with Alani Moore, who's currently on defense at the top on Powell. Sackniuk, who battled illness last year, taking in Echionia.
Sackniuk will be able to make that move in the Atlantic 10, but very tough over Temple's toughness.
And a foul for Daniel Dingle. This is a guy that they're going to call upon a lot this year. In fact, he'll graduate with a master's degree for Temple.
Well, he's done a nice job. I mean, he's only 24% three-point shooter a year ago, so you've got to play him for the 3 because he looks comfortable on it. But when he puts the ball on the floor, you know where he's going. He's going to get and find his way all the way to the rim, and that is a high degree of difficulty.
He had a few games in particular last year that led Temple to victory, among them against UConn and against Cincinnati. So last year came off the bench. In fact, started the last 13 games, didn't play too much of the NCAA tournament game because of an injured hand, but he's 100% this year. Powell with the runner. It's off the heel, and there's an Echionia. Dingle for 3. And the deep tray is good.
He just made mention he only made 15 threes a year ago, but looks much improved, comfortable, composed from the outside.
Extends the Temple lead to 5. Dingle has 11. Johnson was looking for Sackniuk. The 2 weren't on the same frequency. Alston Jr. looking for an Echionia.
Lonnie Moore is the point guard, but Shiz Alston did a nice job of just reading the defense, pushed it in transition, and on the rim run, perfect delivery.
Temple up by 7. Price with his left hand cuts it to a 5-point game.
A nice read of the defense by Price, and on the overplay, just made that backdoor cut and found a way to get that angle to the rim.
Price has 9. Another palming violation. That's the 2nd time tonight on the freshman Rose. Let's go back to the pass, though, for Temple.
Well, this is a set play that LaSalle runs, and then you see here Temple on the rim run, and Echionia just does a nice job of, in their secondary offense, just finding that way to get in the lane. Just a good read by Alston. Been excellent, just reading the defense, not turning it over, doing a good job in transition. The concern that Temple staff has with Moore is his ability to be out there on the floor and consistently defend on the perimeter. I think he's done a very solid job with that. And then Isaiah Dees for LaSalle has been excellent as well. He is a smooth scorer on the baseline, out on the wing, and he's held his own defensively as well. He's not strong enough yet to bang around in the lane, but he finds a way to put the ball in the hoop.
Just 2 seconds separate the game in shot clock. They isolate Powell, taking an Echionia before the horn.
Well, that is very good coaching and a great read by Powell.
Temple at home in Big 5 play will have a 3-point advantage over LaSalle, but give the Explorers credit as Dr. John Giannini's club roared back at this one as we reach halftime at Philly. Over the LaSalle Explorers in Big 5 play. And welcome back courtside with Tim Welsh. With Tim Welsh, I'm Dave Leto. We've seen a host of freshmen get starting roles in this matchup. Among them, Isaiah Dees out of Brooklyn for LaSalle has been flourishing.
Well, we went to practice at LaSalle a couple of weeks ago, and I'm looking for all the other stars, so to speak, the veteran players for John Giannini. And then after we're talking, I'm saying Isaiah Dees could be the guy for you, and coming out of nowhere. And that's a nice thing for a coach to have a freshman just come in his first game and just look so comfortable and relaxed, not forcing the issue. Probably one shot that he took out of rhythm, but other than that, you see the nice tempo to his game. And if LaSalle can get that type of production from the freshmen and then add in B.J. Johnson and Jordan Price and Pookie Powell, and then their inside players, they've got something to work with. And on the other side, Daniel Dingle has been special for Fran Dunphy, and this is what he has to do in his senior season. He and Obi Echionia and Mark Williams, they have to give Temple a lot of scoring early, especially before Josh Brown returns.
Dingle in particular will really have a monstrous role as this season unfolds. Last year was more of a reserve. This year going to be thrust into a starting lineup. Here's the first half numbers as Temple leads by 3.
Well, LaSalle did a really good job after the first 6 or 7 minutes of probing the defense of Temple. And you've got to have good space against Temple's defense. Moving the ball, moving the men. You cannot go one-on-one and just try to attack on first side offense. You've got to make them move a little bit on the defense end of the floor. But both teams very impressive offensively and a good rhythm sharing the basketball as well.
And Echionia out there with Alani Moore, Ernest of Flack P, Alston Jr., and Dan Dingle with the ball. Seven to shoot for Dingle, and he walked.
Well, despite that walk, my take so far in this game, Dave, is that about 4, 5, 6 years ago, this game played on this date would have been a disaster. Guys would have been kicking the ball all over the lot, but it's been very well played, I think, because you can start practice a lot earlier now than you used to. And these teams are in a very good rhythm and look in mid-season form offensively.
In fact, it's the earliest LaSalle has ever played a Big 5 game. Stooks with a no-look pass to Washington. In and out, and there's Dingle to wrestle it away for the Owls. Moore for 3. Stooks and Powell work in conjunction. It's a Stooks triple, and there's a Flack B. So Stooks with Powell, Johnson, Washington, and Jordan Price on the floor to start the second half for the Explorers.
After complimenting both teams offensively, coming out of the locker room a little disjointed with quick shot selection.
Dingle taking Powell the mismatch.
Daniel Dingle averaged 4 points a game a season ago, but showing that he has an improved offensive game as a senior.
Washington had trouble. And here's Alston. And that's showing you the catch and shoot. And an early timeout from Dr. John Giannini, and the fans love that here in Philadelphia. Temple has an 8-point advantage.
Well, Daniel Dingle has done it all for Temple, but he's also had some help with some of the veteran players. He's done it off the bounce from the perimeter, and then if you don't get back against Temple, they will make you pay. You've got to contest. Oh, what a nice welcome addition to the LaSalle bench, and Matt did an outstanding job at James Madison, and back home in Philly seems very happy to be at LaSalle.
In fact, was an assistant coach under Phil Martelli at St. Joe's as well, so knows a thing or two about Big Five play. So let's see what adjustments Dr. John Giannini and his LaSalle Explorers make. Down 8, Stooks gliding in for 2.
Well, the adjustments have to be made on the defensive end of the floor. First of all, they've got to give some help. When Dingle makes those moves to the rim, they've got to attack him. He's trying to go one-on-one a lot, and also get back in transition and guard the three-point line.
Ten to shoot for Alston. Pulls up for 3, way off, and there's Powell. Johnson over in Echionia.
That's how you have to attack the Temple defense. You have to change sides of the floor with spacing and the driving kicks and spot up shooters on the weak side, and that time LaSalle, perfect execution.
9 points for the transfer from Syracuse, and back down to a 3-point game. Moore working with a flag P. And Echionia. That was good stuff that time from Washington. Stooks lost it momentarily on flag P solos.
A little offense by accident by Temple, and just good recognitions and presence of mind by a Flackby.
Johnson for 3. Short on the attempt, and a Flackby in particular has got many of those 50-50 balls and also been monstrous on the offensive end.
He's been very active. He's not a good offensive player, but he's making things happen with just high energy and toughness.
So far with 4 offensive rebounds. Dingle finding a Flackby over Johnson yet again.
Well, that's where Daniel Dingle can really hurt you. They've got to give help on the drives, but they must rotate as well because he is an excellent passer.
10 points for a Flackby, who last year just averaged a pedestrian 1.7 points per game.
He's just doing what he can do. He's just planting himself by the rim, catching it and finishing.
And there's Powell untouched to the cup.
Well, that's Pookie Powell, and improved Pookie Powell with decision making, not trying to force things, but just finding that little area to get to the rim.
Dingle lost it. A foul on LaSalle, and it will be on Pookie Powell. Great response out of the locker room from LaSalle. They keep it to a 5-point game in Philadelphia. Course Center with a cherry and white faithful enjoyed this 5-point lead over LaSalle. Tim, how's LaSalle in particular breaking down the Temple defense?
Well, you've got to have great spacing on the offensive end. Here in transition, they do a nice job. Pookie Powell just driving and kicking, and then Stooks again. It's almost just like space the floor, drive, kick, and then read and react on the weak side. And once you feel that defensive pressure coming from the weak side, then you've got to look to square up and make a pass back out to the perimeter. It's just drive and kick offense. It's simple basketball, but that's what you have to do against Temple's defense, because they will attack the ball with the secondary and even a third defender. They make you make tough twos. It's very hard to get all the way to the rim from the perimeter.
There's one of the transfers who sat out last year, coming from Syracuse, B.J. Johnson. In fact, his father, Bob, donned a LaSalle uniform. In fact, helped the Explorers to NCAA tournaments and an NIT final, so he knows about the Philadelphia tradition as well, having played at Lower Marion.
Yeah, that's where John Giannini's done a nice job with his staff, just identifying those kids that may want to come back to Philly, and also finding a Pookie Powell and a Demetrius Henry from Southern schools and just want to play in a winning program.
Johnson went to the floor. Likely will be an alternating possession. Still should stay on this end. And it will with 15 to shoot.
Well, both these coaches understand you've got to take care of your backyard with recruiting in Philadelphia. Just a wealth of talent, but there's also a lot of good options here with Villanova and St. Joe's and Drexel and Penn. So, you know, when you go recruiting, you've got to be involved in Philadelphia, but you also can be a national program with playing in the American Conference in the Atlantic 10, and that's why you got to go recruiting everywhere. And both rosters are filled with players from all over the map.
And that's what makes the Big Five so special, is because this competition showcases the deep talent and the history between the schools and the rivalries due to the proximity between one another. These two in particular separated by just 5 miles.
Interesting to play this game so early in the season, and both coaches just shook their head when you talked about the date, but you got to play the games that are on your schedule, and they both come ready to go tonight.
Powell for a deep 2. And cuts it down to a 5-point lead for Temple.
No matter what happens tonight with LaSalle, John Janine's got to be very happy with Pookie Powell. He's just played an outstanding floor game, making good decisions.
He's collected 9 thus far. Dingle over Stooks, came up short, can't get his own offensive rebound, and here comes Stooks. Nearly walked with it, gave it up to Price. Austin swats it away, and he'll look to run in transition. To the freshman Rose for 3.
Not only a good decision by Alston, but a nice move by Rose to flare out to the 3-point line and just get his feet set, relax, and knock it in.
He's now 1 of 3 from beyond. Johnson looks to quell that.
Well, both these teams are in a very good rhythm offensively, and Sal's got to get Jordan Price going a little bit. Temple's defense is geared towards stopping him, but he's got to find that room on the weak side as the ball gets reversed.
Now, Price right now only has 9 points. He's 3 of 5 shooting. In last year's game, Tim, he went 4 of 21. He was really that only option in a one-dimensional team last year, but now there's a plethora of scoring.
There is, and there's a lot of scoring tonight. I mean, talk about the start of college basketball. Forget that football stuff. You watch the ugly NFL last night, 7-6 at halftime. This is good. A lot of teams are scoring. They're putting the ball in the hole.
And both teams shooting well to start the second half, no question. Alston driving in. Johnson says no for his 3rd block. Will stay on this end with just a Powell with 1 to shoot.
Mind you, this compliment comes few and far between, but the officials are actually in good mid-season form tonight. They've done a nice job. This is not an easy game to officiate because you've got a lot of athletes trying to put their head down and drive to the rim, and good team defense where the help's coming in. There's a lot of activity in arms and bodies at the rim, but the officials have done a good job of keeping it clean but not blowing their whistle too often.
No question, with Crawford, Shannon, and Ellard officiating tonight in a non-rule change year. Powell for 3. That's way off on the attempt, and Flackby has the rebound. Scoring, in fact, from last year, Tim, to this year went up about 67 points per game in 2014-15 to about 72 last year. So the game's a little bit more advantageous for the offense.
Well, the officials have done a good job, but also the coaches and the players have adjusted as well. And if the coaches don't adjust, then the game is not going to change.
And Etchioni had a piece of that. Johnson with his right. He got fouled. He'll go to the line.
Well, that was a good cut to the rim by B.J. Johnson, and you did not see that in his game when he was a younger player. He just kind of stood out on the perimeter, very good from the perimeter, but now he's added this piece to his game where he's moving without the basketball and can get to the free throw line.
That was on Dingle. It's his 2nd. And Williams will come back in to add some veteran presence. He's a captain for the Owls. Flackby will sit out. Johnson in particular is a little bit of a mismatch for teams as well. He's a matchup problem because he's almost like a stretch 4 but can play a multitude of positions.
Well, you know, the game has changed, Dave, in the last 4, 5, 6 years where it's become a game of face the basket. And there's no longer a real 4-man out there on the floor. You play with basically 4 perimeter players and maybe 1 post player, maybe sometimes 5 perimeter players. So B.J. Johnson is a difficult matchup for most teams because he can step out at 6'8", but also he can play on the baseline and in the free throw line and attack the rim.
Williams on the high-low with an Etchioni. That was blocked again by Powell. Snuffed once more from Johnson. And Etchioni can't get it on the 3rd attempt, and Dees has it, and here comes LaSalle. A 3 will tie it. Stooks. Johnson on the extra pass. And a blocking foul call. It's going to be against Ease of LaSalle.
Well, LaSalle came up empty-handed in that transition, but defensively they did an excellent job walling up against the bigs of Temple. And you see just the help there and the activity down low. The length of LaSalle, Tony Washington doing a good job just holding his position, holding his ground, using that 6'10" body, but not fouling.
So after the foul, here's Alston with his Owls leading by 3. Rose will have another attempt, and that's his second try of the evening.
Good patient offense by Temple. They work on that a lot. A little misdirection in the dribble handoff. Step back 3 by Rose.
He has 8 thus far, extends the Temple lead. Price for a deep 2. And that's a guy they have to get going.
Jordan Price. That's a LaSalle giving Temple a little bit of dose of their own medicine. That step back handoff. Those are very difficult to defend.
Back down to a 4-point game. And Alston wisely resetting to an Etchioni in front of his own bench. Stripped away from Johnson. He calls a timeout, and LaSalle will get it, to the dismay of the coaching staff for the Explorers. What a response here from LaSalle. They're down 4 with under 12 minutes to play in regulation. Kevin Connors and John Anderson. They'll have highlights from college basketball's first games of the season, the NBA, NHL, NFL news, and everything else from a busy Friday night. Sports Center at night after Indiana, Kansas, also streaming live on the ESPN app and Watch ESPN. Under 12 minutes to play here in Philly. Temple leading by 4, thanks in large part to Ernest of Blackbee.
Well, Dave, you're too young to remember this, but back in the day, there's a guy called the Big E, and you can say Ernest of Blackbee all night long, but if he keeps playing like this, he'll be the new Big E. He used to be Elvin Hayes back in the day, but the Big E now for Temple is Ernest of Blackbee tonight, just dominating inside, using his power, presence of mind on the loose balls. 1.7 points per game a year ago, but that's about player development. And you ask Dumpf about him, and he says, listen, he's a big, strong, young player. What we get out of him offensively is gravy. So tonight's gravy time, because he's done very well around the box, but not forcing things, just doing a good job on both ends of the floor.
Yeah, he's one shy of a double good spin move from Washington, who's been quiet to this point, but now delivering. And now it's a 2-point game here between Temple and LaSalle.
Tony Washington probably got away with a little tap dance there in the box, but good strong move, carving out space in the lane.
Rose gliding past Dees. Washington stood his way. LaSalle can go in front with the 2. A 3 will give them the lead. It goes out for Dees, and Johnson will get called for the foul, and Etchioni had better positioning on him.
B.J. Johnson's got to let it go, because that's just a foul that's unnecessary, and he doesn't have that inside position. You love his aggressiveness, but he's got to use intelligence as well.
And coming up later on ESPN, Indiana against Kansas, Harvard and Stanford over on ESPN2. Tom Crean fielding another deep squad for the Hoosiers as Dingle connects for 3 here in Philly.
Daniel Dingle, this doesn't look like a one-hit wonder in the first half. He looks very confident and improved as an offensive player.
And he already has a career high tonight in points with 18. Price will try to answer in and out. The freshman Dees climbs for the rebound, swatted away by Rose.
Rose just with that quick lift at the rim.
Dingle out to Williams, looking for his first basket.
By Daniel Dingle, we've talked about his offense, but he's done a very good job defensively, one-on-one, denying Jordan Price his easy touches on the perimeter.
Williams now 0 for 5, does have a 3 throw in the matchup. 5-point game. Under 5 to shoot here for Powell. Has Washington, will have to hoist a deep 2. Johnson has the rebound. 3 for Price. A foul called against Washington yet again.
Well, good recognition by Temple of the shot clock. You not only have to know the shot clock on offense, you don't have to know it on the defensive end. Here, they just double up on Pookie Powell. They leave Washington open on the perimeter as the clock winds down, and he steps out. He does not want to take a three because he didn't even attempt one all last season, but he got caught needing to fire it up on the board. And Temple, excellent defense. Now, both these teams have played, even though you look at the numbers tonight, and you say, okay, this is not much defense. A lot of points with 9 minutes to go. But both teams have played very good defense, helping out in the lane, not fouling. It's just offensively, both teams in a very good rhythm, spacing the floor, changing sides, and sharing the ball.
Williams on the high-low feeds it to Gionia.
Again, excellent offensive execution. Temple waited until they found that overplay on the low box and then created that high-low situation.
Salle back in its half-court set with Johnson. Henry coming back in for Washington, who's mired by 3 fouls. Powell for 3.
That wasn't a good offensive possession by LaSalle. They didn't really get the ball moving. They kept it on the perimeter and had to force one at the end of the clock.
Ten to shoot for Williams. Lost it. Henry was in his way. Went off of Williams' knee. Powell looks to push with his left hand, swatted away by Alston. And off of Powell will go back to Temple.
Well, Temple doing a good job on the retreat. Tried to force it a little bit on that last possession, but you can see what Fran Dunphy wants to do. He sees B.J. Johnson on the low box guard, trying to guard Echinonia, but defensively, another good retreat and hustle play by Temple.
Just a few minutes ago, LaSalle could have taken the lead on a 3, but what has Temple done to extend this advantage for the Owls?
You know, they've played very, very good defense. LaSalle has come up with 3 or 4 straight empty possessions where they really struggled to get a clean look at the basket. Right now, they're standing around on the offensive end of the floor.
So Dingle working with Rose here in Alston. Williams and a Flackby, the other Temple players. Williams, and that's his first try of the night.
And Mark Williams has been a great three-point shooter over his career, but he will take them, and you have to respect that he can knock one down.
They go to Henry inside. Using the physicality, no call. The fans wanted it.
Looked like he maybe violated the vertical cylinder rule by using those elbows out, but no call.
Another high-low for a Flackby over Henry. And Ernest will go to the free throw line on the other side.
Well, both teams in a good offensive rhythm, and Temple finding great balance on the offensive end of the floor. LaSalle trying to hang in down low.
There's no more Perry Ellis or Wade Selden Jr., but Bill Self is getting Josh Jackson.
Well, no question about it. Kansas continues to reload, and reload more. But everyone wants to see Josh Jackson. So clearly going to be a great player. And this is the year the freshman is a very, very high-level, deep freshman class. It's not like last year where you had a Simmons, maybe in an Ingram, and then everybody else. It's kind of very balanced. But Kansas has more than Josh Jackson. There's no doubt about it. In experience with Frank Mason and Devontae Graham at the guard spot, and very, very special backcourt.
So a Flackby at the line here in Philadelphia. Big 5 play to open up the season in the city of brotherly love. Dave Leto, Tim Welsh, our entire ESPN crew. Flackby is so far is really at a monstrous game, not only from his shooting prowess, but also on the offensive glass.
Well, interesting, even on the last possession, you see Fran Dunphy running a play. They ran that high-low play to get the ball into Ernest Flackby, and he delivered. He just carved out space. They made a perfect pass, and he was able to get to the free throw line.
So far, he has 11 points, 1 rebound shy of a double-double. Johnson was looking for Washington. And the errant throw at a Flackby cleaned up.
Too tight in there for LaSalle to make that play. They were bunched up, and again, we spoke about it before. You've got to be spaced against Temple's defense.
So the freshman guard for the DC area, Lonnie Moore, back out there for the Owls, working with Dingle. Here's a Flackby yet again, taking Washington, and those are good low post moves.
Well, Temple's got to make an adjustment. Certainly, Flackby was not on their scouting report as one of the go-to guys, but Temple is going to him because he is carving out space. That time he just buried Tony Washington with his backside, and Washington had no answer defensively.
The career night continues for a Flackby. He is 12. LaSalle trying to get Price going. Good recognition by him as he'll go to the line and draw the contact on a Flackby. But if you're Jordan Price in this situation, how do you get going here with your squad right now down by 10?
There's no real quick answer. You've just got to be patient. And right now, Temple, I think Temple is winning the battle because of the fact they're getting better shots. And LaSalle is kind of, the last 6-7 minutes have been standing around on the offensive end of the floor. They're not spacing the court. You can see right here, just Washington playing dead behind. He doesn't provide any resistance to the pass down low. I mean, Flackby's really not trying to get low post space. He just goes and stands on the box, and Washington gives up some power, but he's got more quickness and length, and he's got to step around and prevent that easy delivery down to the box.
And if LaSalle certainly wants to contend with the VCUs, the St. Bonaventures, and the Daytons, who all want at least a share of the A-10, they'll have to get Washington and Henry going in that rotation at the 5. That's a great step back, too, for Mark Williams. His second field goal attempt made tonight.
Temple's confidence is growing, and we wondered how they'd come out and play without their rock point guard, Josh Brown, but they've been without him all preseason. And
foul's going to be called, as Rose had to stop momentarily, but the advantage will go to LaSalle.
Again, you cannot make this move against Temple's defense. The help will come. They are schooled on this as good as any team you'll play all season long. They don't have all the great athletes that you may see in the top 15, 20 teams in the country, but defensively they are going to really rotate and help each other at the rim.
And now there's a new interpretation in the rules, even though it's a non-rule change year, and that is with legal defenders, they can have their vertical space even if they're inside the arc this go around.
Well, they must go out and try to block the shot, or they just can't run in and try to draw a charge. And you got to be a legal defender, but that time Pookie Powell got to the rim and found the angle.
8-point lead for Temple. And an offensive foul called against the Owls. It's going to go against Anaccioni on the push-off.
You see defensively, this is what you can't do. You cannot carve out space down there and use your body to displace the defender. Good call.
Now 5 minutes to play in regulation. Here's Stooks, who's been quiet, rejected by Williams. More Stooks just held to a pallid 2 points thus far. Last year, the Big 5 Scholar Athlete of the Year. Dingle taking Powell. It's a good strip by Pookie, and he'll look to run. Finding a trailing Johnson for 3, and he connects.
Better decision making on that possession by LaSalle. Instead of driving all the way to the rim and forcing the issue, Powell just relaxed, waited. Temple's defense on the retreat. Johnson, nice job as a trailer.
Johnson is 17, now 3 of 8 from 3. The foul caught against Johnson yet again.
Team 7. Substitution for LaSalle, number 13, Salle.
So one-on-one situation here for Temple as Anaccioni will go to the line.
Shooting 1 and 1.
It's easier said than done to play against Temple's defense, but there's a good transition possession on the last play by the three by Johnson, but they've got to continue to change sides of the floor, try to attack off the wing and then drive and kick. And the previous play when Stooks got blocked, Johnson was wide open in the corner. He's got to have his head up and be ready to make that next pass.
Price for three, strong on it. There's Eccioni, who missed his first free throw attempt on the opposite side of the floor, but possession back to the Owls.
It's a little bit of a force by Price. He's defended pretty well on the perimeter. He's got to wait, be a little bit more patient.
Williams swatted momentarily by Johnson. Looks like the foul's going to be called against Washington. Temple doing a nice job here, maintaining the lead. They're up by 5 at home.
The basketball, and LaSalle's not being patient enough making that extra pass. We talked about it a few times tonight. When you drive the ball into the gap against LaSalle, against Temple, watch. 3 defenders come and attack the basketball. Stooks is in the lane. Instead of reading the defense and kicking back out to an open Johnson on the perimeter, or that may even be Price, he drives the ball right at the rim and gets it blocked. Now this time, Pookie Powell does a nice job of spacing the floor, taking his time, reading the defense. The defense sags back. He hits the trailer Johnson for the 3.
Do you feel like LaSalle has been more productive going inside to the low post or relying on their jump shooting?
Well, against Temple, you've got to make shots. There's no question about it, because they are going to deny you at the rim. And you just saw a perfect example on the first play we showed, where when the ball comes in, the defenders are going to come, the secondary defender and the third defender. Now, not only you have to be ready to make that pass, but the players on the perimeter have to slide into the open areas. As their defender slides in, they have to slide into a gap where the offensive player has good vision for that next pass back out to the perimeter.
Flackby comes in for Mark Williams, a well-deserved breather for him. A new role for Williams as a senior and a captain. He'll get a lot more minutes than he did a year ago, of course, with Cozy playing in Italy. Jalen Bond just signed with the Westchester Knicks, and Devin Coleman having graduated. Johnson for 2. He was fouled and 1.
That's a good set play by LaSalle, and B.J. Johnson's showing a lot of different areas on the floor that he can make plays. An improved guy in the lane and also more strength. A little just basic shuffle cut, and he stops halfway home and does a great job of keeping that body balance.
Third foul on Obi and Eccioni, who before the Johnson basket led all scores with 18, but now Johnson leapfrogs him with that basket he just made, should be 19 points. And at a 5-point game. Rose going to the rack.
That's a nightmare for LaSalle off a free throw. Temple just beats you down the floor with hustle and gets to the rim with no resistance.
Stooks finds Washington, 12 to shoot, nearly walked. They're going to the hot-handed Johnson. He was short. Dingle has it for Temple.
Just nowhere to go for LaSalle. They're trying to run their plays, but they're too tight. They don't have good enough spacing to get clean looks in the lane. And 4 guys were around the basketball when Washington had the ball in the box.
7-point lead for the Owls. Alston will run it with freshman Rose of Flackby and Eccioni and Dingle. Here's Alston off balance, off of Johnson. Rose, watch the freshman fly.
Well, bad play, good play by Temple. Just kept with it, stayed with the play, and Price tried to go do too much in traffic, spit the ball.
12 points on opening night for Quentin Rose. Here's Powell trying to go up and under. He will go to the line.
Well, Quentin Rose has shown that he is a keeper for Fran Dunphy. He's made some plays in transition, and now defensively just staying with it after the loose ball, attacking, finishing in traffic.
And Temple was very high on Quentin Rose as well, out of Bishop Kearney High School, a 3A school in the New York area. Again, he's not going to be a vocal leader for Temple, but he's a guy who could jump out of the gym.
There's no question about it. And Shiz Alston's done a nice job tonight. He came out of the gates a little forcing things at times, but a very good floor game so far for Temple. Temple's been solid in most aspects, and I think the concern for LaSalle right now, when you look at Jordan Price, he's really struggled out there on the floor. Just shot selections, turned it over a little bit. Just where is he going to get his shots within the rhythm of their offense, with the addition of Pookie Powell and B.J. Johnson, who are big-time scorers as well.
Timeout called by Inechionia, with Temple leading by 7, 2:08 to play. And you're right, Price has been held to 13 points in this ball game. He's been the leading scorer the last couple of years, but Temple understands that on their scouting report, got to watch out for Price, and so far they've done very well.
Well, there's no doubt about it that Temple's defense is going to be rock solid, and they're going to take away what you do best. So you have to find counters, and LaSalle's done a good job on the offensive end of the floor. Let's not discredit them. They've got 70 points against an excellent defensive team, but Temple has had very good offensive rhythm, probably better than Fran Dunphy thought that they could have in their first game of the year, with a really inexperienced backcourt. I mean, when you lose what they lost, and then Josh Brown not being on the floor and Trey Lowe being out as well, very impressive what they've done offensively, and they've gone inside, and they've had good balance to their offense. They've pushed the ball in transition, they've run their stuff and looked to attack from the three-point line and off the bounce, but also run their high-low game very well.
And you can see the tough competition in the Big Five with Temple. 27 Big Five titles. Villanova, in fact, has won the last 3. As Dingle out of the timeout has it with Alston, and his Owls lead by 7 under 2 minutes to play. Here's the freshman Moore, giving it up to the senior Williams. That's off the mark. It's going to be a call against Dingle over the back on Amar Stoops.
Really good offense by Temple on that possession, and they're kind of in that in-between area. They want to take some time off the clock, but they probably waited a little bit too long to get into anything offensively and tried a forced shot by Williams from the perimeter.
17th foul on Temple. It's a 1-and-1 here for Stoops.
There's where you're in a kind of a quandary as a coach, where you've got that lead. You don't want to hold the ball to the end where now you get out of a rhythm offensively. But you don't want to attack too quickly either, where you're giving the other team an opportunity to come down and get back in the game in 1:43.
Cuts it down to a 5-point deficit for LaSalle. And now full court pressure from the Explorers. Dingle wanted a timeout, but the officials didn't grant it. And here comes Moore. And the freshman will wisely back out here with 1:35 to play.
There's a foul on the perimeter that the referee just passed on. Powell bumped the dribbler.
LaSalle needs a stop. Dingle taking Henry. He draws the contact and will go to the line.
Fouls number 24, Demetrius Henry. That's his 5th.
And Henry is fouled out.
Better offensive execution by Temple. They're into their spread offense, where they're going to take, if they find an angle off the bounce, they've got 4 or 5 out on the perimeter. They're going to just kind of run a little weave on the outside with some dribble handoffs, and then if they get a little space, they're going to go one-on-one.
So Washington will have to come back in for Henry, who exits with 8 points tonight.
Shooting 2.
It's kind of a questionable foul on Henry. He looked like he played pretty solid defense on Dingle.
Six-point lead for Temple. Powell splitting 3 over Williams and down to a 4-point game.
Tremendous body control by Powell and patience offensively by LaSalle, waiting till Temple made a mistake.
And now under a minute to play in Philly. 10 to shoot here for Dingle. Blazing past Stooks, finds Alston for a baseline jumper. He's way off, and there's Price.
Temple's gone into this delay game, and Echinonia has been invisible. They have not even looked into the big fella at all.
Price taking Dingle. And that's great recognition by the experienced Price to draw the contact on Williams, and the crowd doesn't like it.
Well, that's why he's such a tough out. He's like a outside linebacker in a basketball uniform, and he's going to put his head down with finesse, but just tremendous power, finding a way just to make something out of nothing. Here he just kind of pushes off. He gets away with the push off on Dingle, and then Williams' hands were not straight up in the air. That's a good call by the official.
Price will be shooting 2 in this situation. Now down to a 1-possession game as the freshman Salle Fury, a native of Zimbabwe, comes in for Tony Washington. Two-point game in Philly.
The shot clock is off, so Temple has got to be aware.
And Dr. John Giannini likes that foul from Stooks. It stymies the clock at 25.6.
I agree with that move wholeheartedly. I mean, you may want to just try to see if you can get one trap out on the floor, but Shiz Alston's only attempted 8 career free throws, so put the inexperienced player on the line, see what he has early in the season.
Substitution, number 10
Well, Temple went into their delay game and they kind of lost their rhythm, and I agree that you've got to take some time off the clock, but they never looked inside, and they just spent a lot of time on the perimeter in the last couple minutes of this game, and it's allowed Salle to get back in the game. Now Temple's got to get down and dirty defensively.
Temple with 4 timeouts, and Fran Dunphy wisely uses one of them as this Owls are right now up by 3. And now LaSalle has to go the length of the floor. What would you like to see from the Explorers? You have an opportunity to tie the game with under 26 to play.
You cannot just draw up a play and say, we're going to isolate somebody and go against Temple, because they're too good defensively. I think you've got to change sides of the floor. You've got plenty of time. You've got 4 timeouts left now. If you don't like what's going on out there in the half court, you can call a timeout. Don't rush it. You don't need a 3. Absolutely not. There's plenty of time to score, set up your press, foul again, and get the ball back. You use your timeouts. Use for 25.6 seconds, because there's a few possessions left in this game, because Temple right now is back on their heels. Right now they're looking for a little leadership out there on the perimeter, and they've got a lot of inexperience. So I think LaSalle smells a little blood. So just make sure you run good offense. And I think right now Jordan Price is starting to feel his oats out there on the court, like, okay, wait a minute now, I am the go-to guy. But if they drive the ball into the lane, LaSalle can get a 3 if they drive and feel the defense coming from the weak side and the help is there. That's where they can drive and kick to Johnson on the perimeter for a 3 to tie the game.
LaSalle has 4 timeouts in this situation as Temple will go on defense as they rise here at the Liacouras Center. Remember, with the rule changes, the coaches can't call a timeout in a live ball situation, so the players have to take care of that.
Well, I think John has told his team, there's no doubt about it. This is a school team. If you're in a panic situation, also you can yell to his players to call a timeout. They will call one if needed, but they're going to come out and attack. They're going to, you see how they're spacing the floor. They're going to go one-on-one, try to drive and kick. They're going to look for Price on the box.
Stooks inside, but first to foul. Basket will not count. Will be a 1-on-1 situation here for LaSalle at the free throw line.
That was a very good set play by John Giannini. What they tried to do is they ran a misdirection. They ran Price through on the baseline, you see, and they posted up their guard. They saw Stooks down low, and they said, we're going at Alani Moore. He is not a experienced defender at all. Stooks did a good job of just posting up down low, and Moore did a good job of just fouling him because you don't want to just give up the layup. Put him on the line.
Stooks converts the front end of a 1-and-1. And now a 2-point game in Philadelphia. Both teams have a timeout. 1-point game at the Liacouras Center. Dingle looking for Alston. And a foul on Johnson. Double bonus situation here for Temple as we walk the floor with 13.4 to play.
Well, Salle has played this out very, very well. They're just extending the game. They're not fooling around. And on the offensive end, they knew exactly what they wanted to do. They had a quick hitter into Stooks. Didn't waste much time, and now in their press, they didn't try to get a steal. They just fouled right away. Now coming back down the floor, they're going to have options to tie or possibly win this game.
Alston finding himself in a situation with the pressure levied on his shoulders. He'll go through this throughout the 2016-17 campaign.
Fran Dunphy is very confident in his sophomore, and he has to be because he doesn't have a lot of options. He did play some minutes last year and looked very comfortable on the line.
And a timeout called from Dunphy as his Owls have a 3-point lead over LaSalle with 13.4 to play. And we saw LaSalle on the flip side get a set play going. They went to the free throw line. How can they rewrite that and try to get a 3 to lock this one up?
Well, you don't want to waste a lot of time trying to get a 3, then you force a desperation shot at the end. If they can come down and get a quick 2 in 3, 4, 5 seconds, then again you have time to set up your press, put them on the line, and then come back down and see what your options are again and force Temple to make 2 more free throws. And if not, you'll have a chance to tie with a 2 or win it with a 2 if Temple misses. But you have to take what the defense gets you, but you can't mess around. If the clock gets under 7 seconds, then you've got to drive and kick and go into your 3-point offense. And Temple defensively now, obviously, they're going to guard the 3-point line. Very, very tough. I would say under 5 seconds that Fran Dunphy would possibly look to foul with the ball on the floor. He's got an inexperienced team out there in Alston and Moore on the perimeter, so he's got to be very careful that he doesn't foul in the wrong place on the floor, but switch on most screens, especially ball screens and handoffs.
Under 10 seconds to go, LaSalle down by 3. Here's Price for the tie. He delivers! 4 seconds to go. Alston for the prayer. And we're going to extra basketball.
Again, here's a veteran coach understanding we're going to our moneymaker when the game is on the line. He didn't start tonight, but he is finishing it off with a flourish. There's no question about it. Jordan Price was taking that shot.
Jordan Price, the experienced player, delivers for LaSalle as we're headed to OT after this timeout. Matchup. It's the LaSalle Explorers out of the A-10 against the Temple Owls out of the American Conference. And Jordan Price, the redshirt senior, delivers to the dismay of Fran Dunphy of the Temple Owls.
Well, it's total dismay because Daniel Dingle really did a good job of getting over the top of that screen at 6'7". He's got length, he's got experience, but basically comes off this screen. He does a good job of switching out, but then he just lets him shoot it right in his face. You see Dingle when he just took a step back and a little dismayed that Price was going to pull from that deep on the floor, and understanding that you've got to know the time and score, and 3s send you into an extra session, and Dingle just got back on his heels. He should have been up in his chest.
Price now has 18. He's 2 of 8 from 3. So Etchionia and Washington will jump it up to start this overtime as Rick Crawford will throw it in the air. LaSalle controls the overtime, and the extra 5-minute session is underway. Stooks with Washington. Cal Price and Johnson, the three other players for the Explorers on the floor. Here's Stooks. He was blocked that time. Will stay on this end with 9 to shoot.
Again, Stooks, when he drives into that gap, he's got to be aware that the help is coming. He had Johnson wide open in the corner on ball side. Just drive and kick.
Price, the hero over Dingle. So the freshman Alani Moore with Williams and Etchionia, Rose, the other freshman, and the experienced Dingle. Williams driving baseline on Washington. It's one player in particular that we've seen multiple times in this game that Temple is trying to take advantage of, and Tony Washington.
He's kind of caved in on the baseline. He's not a bulk type player, but he's got good length and quickness, and just seems to be a step slow defensively.
And Washington has fouled out. Remember, Demetrius Henry also fouled out earlier in the game as well. Those two rotate with one another. Now the officials are getting that from the scores table, so this is troubling for that inside low post presence for LaSalle. So Dr. John Giannini will call upon Isaiah Dees, who's really impressed the faithful here in Philly out of Brooklyn, New York. A smaller set now for LaSalle as Washington and Henry, you see those two embrace. They're on the bench, they're done.
The delayed call from the officials. Dave, you had it, but they didn't. The five fouls. Williams was about to shoot the free throw with a disqualified player on the floor.
Two-point lead here for Temple as Williams delivers, and he'll get a well-earned rest. And Alston back into the game. Foul away for the ball. It's going to be called against Quentin Rose.
You see LaSalle now, they've gone to their spread offense with no post player at all. They've got 5 on the perimeter. In order to be successful against Temple, though, they've got to use the corners. They were, again, a little bit tight on the perimeter, but Dee's doing a good job of just moving and cutting without the basketball to get to the line.
Fouls coming over from the overtime session, so both teams in the double bonus, and here's the freshman Dees. Stooks guarding Alani Moore. He walked. But first there was a foul. A blocking call called against LaSalle. Some more gets away with one as the foul charge to Stooks. That's his 4th. And Moore will be at the line shooting 2.
Well, early in the game, we saw Obi Etchionia do a nice job in a mid-post. Nice job in the lane, making some back-to-the-basket moves. And now he's got B.J. Johnson on him. I would see if maybe isolate him down low and use his experience to go get a bucket. He has been invisible in the last 10 minutes of this game.
Substitution for the Owls.
Senior Mark Williams will come back in, giving the freshman Moore a rest.
A little offense-defense by Temple. Fran Dunphy seeing that LaSalle is trying to post up more down in the low box, taking advantage of his inexperience and his lack of size.
LaSalle can tie with a 2. They can go in front with a 3. Johnson, who's been quiet, over Necchionia. He'll go to the line.
That's good offense by LaSalle, just really spacing the court. And you see Necchionia having a problem guarding a guy like Johnson off the bounce from the perimeter.
Fourth foul on Obi and Necchionia. He's been quiet in the last few minutes of regulation. Temple's been doing a good job hindering him to this point.
They have, but he's got to do a better job of moving without the ball and demanding the basketball. You know, as a veteran player, he is the experienced scorer on the floor, and you just can't just say, okay, I'm not getting the ball. He's got to demand the ball a little bit. He has to understand that Shiz Alston and Alani Moore and whoever's out there on the floor, Quentin Rose, has to know, listen, I can go get a basket when we need one, but you've got to look for me.
And with those free throws, we're deadlocked at 84. There's Rose, the freshman, guarded by the experienced Johnson. He splits 2. And Necchionia cleans up nicely. Temple has the lead by a bucket.
He's making things happen on his own on the weak side. The big fella. Put back.
Price wants to take Dingle. Spinning. And a foul call to the dismay of Daniel Dingle.
That's where Jordan Price is so good. He's just experienced at getting to the rim and down the other end. Necchionia, we talked about it. He has not touched the ball at all. He didn't touch it on that possession. Found a way to score at the rim.
Price, known for his outside shooting, but penetrating multiple times in this matchup to the basket. Says he admires his game after James Harden.
Just was spinning almost out of control on that play. He kind of bailed out by the officials, but he's so strong that he creates the contact and does a nice job of selling it.
Temple clinging to a 1-point lead. Under 3 minutes to play at Philly in overtime. Alston. 3-point lead for the Owls.
Great body control, patience at the rim by Alston.
Stooks taking Alston, spinning away. Alston rejects him and regains possession along the baseline and has words for Stooks.
Again, Stooks just forcing the issue, not understanding it. That's like the 3rd shot he's had blocked in the last 7 or 8 minutes of this game. When he drives in, he's got to be a passer.
Alston had it stripped. Will stay on this end with 40 to shoot.
Stooks has done a nice job trying to post up down low, but when he takes the ball from the 3-point line and drives and puts his head down, he still has not figured out that Temple's defense is coming at him.
Fury comes in for D's, and Alston wisely calls a timeout with 1:57 to play at overtime, and his Owls have a 3-point lead over Big 5 rival LaSalle.
30-second timeout becomes the media. Out there. You want to lead team for Temple U?
Dave Leto, Tim Welsh, and our entire ESPN crew in Philadelphia. Temple was leading largely in the second half, but LaSalle came storming back thanks to this.
LaSalle did a great job of just finding a way to get back in the game, extending the game with their defense on the free throw line, patient in the offense, but when they needed the moneymaker, they went to Jordan Price, and the step back 3 and right over an astonished Daniel Dingle and Temple fan base.
So these two teams clashing in the 117th meeting. In fact, Temple has won 18 of the last 22 games against LaSalle. They're the numbers on Price with 19 points, converting that game-tying 3. Of course, that was off the bench. Remember, B.J. Johnson didn't start in this game as well. They put the freshman in for the Explorers.
And that's John Giannini's philosophy. Whoever wins practice starts in the game, but we wonder if you'd like to have those first 5 or 6 minutes back of the game. And I guess over the long haul, it's a teaching moment for your basketball team, but They got behind early, but they clawed back, and they've shown a lot tonight. They've shown that they're a quality basketball team. And when you come off a dreadful basketball season and you add pieces, you're always wondering as a coach, are we going to be good? And your last taste in your mouth is what happened last season. Even though you don't want to talk about it, and it's a fresh start, you have to reteach how to win. But this team tonight looks like they're here for the long haul. Very, very gritty performance in the second half to get back and send this game into overtime.
Fran Dunphy on the flip side had the lead for virtually all of the second half. LaSalle could have tied it at one juncture with a three, but it didn't fall home for Isaiah Dees. But right now he's in the midst of OT with under 2 minutes to play. So here's Temple out of the timeout with Alston. Owls are leading by 3 with possession.
Good job by LaSalle, switching on all the screens on that screen-to-screener, taking away the jumper on the perimeter.
Dingle taking Fury, the freshman. Now a 5-point game.
Daniel Dingle, he just, despite that miscue defensively at the end of regulation, has played an outstanding overall floor game.
Dingle leads all Temple scores with 21. Stripped by Alston. He's beating Powell and will solo. Temple has a 7-point lead and a timeout.
Pookie Powell trying to do a little bit too much, but Daniel Dingle has done everything for Fran Dunphy tonight on the offensive end of the floor. He's made plays in the lane from the perimeter and shown toughness.
Officials wave off the timeout here. LaSalle down by 7, 1:20 to play. Dingle strips it away on the errant throw by Pookie Powell to Johnson.
And that was Pookie Powell's MO at Memphis. Just poor decisions, and they're back-to-back crucial situations. Gets stripped, and then just a loose pass on the perimeter.
And now under a minute to play in the overtime. A classic Philly Big 5 rivalry between LaSalle and Temple. Alston for 3. He's short, and the speedster Powell skies up for it. Bryce, stop, pop, 3-ball, and that's his game. It rattles home.
That's just terrible defense by Temple. Just they ran back, and nobody identified the best player in blue as he just got his feet set easily and made a shot in transition because no one provided any resistance.
And that's 22 now for Bryce.
You see, coming back defensively, you've got to find him first and foremost and get back and match up. And Temple just jogging back. Everyone's got their hands down. They're just retreating back. No one is identifying wing cutters, wing runners, or anybody trailing. And especially, you've got to find Price because you know they are going to find him in transition.
Philly fans know what the Big 5 is all about, with the schools in close proximity to one another, known for the streamers, those double headers at the Palestra. Boy, we are getting an exciting matchup here at the Liacouras Center. Temple with 3 more Big 5 titles than Villanova. You know, the Wildcats have won the last 3. In fact, no team has repeated back-to-back champions since Florida did it, so maybe an opportunity for Villanova. But in this situation here, Temple up by 4 over LaSalle. What do you want to see out of John Giannini's Explorers here with only 45 seconds to play?
Well, obviously, they're going to get up and pressure and they're going to play the game out the way they did at the end of regulation. They're going to foul right away. And they're going to play the foul game and hope that Temple misses. They're trying to steal the inbounds, but they're not really setting up their press to get a steal on them. Make Temple work against the pressure. They're going to foul right away and just extend the game. And here's a tough pass.
Stooks stripped it from Alston. Winds up in the hands of Fury. Back to Stooks. About a 14-second game in shot clock differential. Here's Powell, swatted away by Inechionya. Moore will look to push, and he's fouled by Fury.
Foul number 13, Salle Fury.
Well, after a well-played game all night long by both teams, just a series of bad decisions. First, Dingle just can't understand that pass at all. Just there's nothing there. Just gambled when you don't have to. And then LaSalle doesn't have to panic here, and they really don't even look at Jordan Price, and Pookie Powell just drives into a sea of white shirts and just throws it up, hoping with no chance.
Lonnie Moore misses the front end. Johnson comes back in. Fury will take a seat.
Do a nice job in your pressure out with a little help from Temple's poor decision making, and then immediately just put your head down and go to the rim, and you don't even look for Jordan Price.
4-point game as the freshman. Moore goes 0 for 2, stripped by Alston, however. D's trying to stop him, and he has to foul. Sigh of relief there for Temple.
Well, Shiz Alston has made some excellent defensive plays in this overtime, using his length, his ability to cut into the passing lanes, but just really good presence of mind to get out there on the floor. Here, just a strip as B.J. Johnson puts his head down, and again, we've talked about it all night long. When you dribble into the lane, Temple is going to send a sea of white shirts at you. Very difficult to go one-on-one against this Temple defense.
And he's 1 of 2. 5-point game. 10 seconds to go. Johnson looking for 2. Strong over Net Jr. cleans up, however. Back down to a 3-point contest with 7.5 to play. And a timeout by LaSalle.
Well, that was a good, quick attack by LaSalle and B.J. Johnson, just getting the ball right to the rim before Temple could get their defense set.
So Temple's up there in the most all-time wins in Division I with Kentucky, Kansas, North Carolina, and Duke. That attests not only to what Fran Dunphy has done at Temple, but John Shady and also the chief, Harry Litwack.
Going way back, you walk into this building and the tradition just drips from the ceiling, and that's why you love coming here. It's just great basketball tradition, tremendous fans, but not only coming here, but coming in for a Big 5 game as well. And LaSalle has just answered every call that Temple has given them tonight. But out of this timeout, LaSalle's talking about getting a steal or a 5-second count, then a quick foul. But Temple, you got to understand, they've got to make the simple, easy play, spread the floor, go deep, but have second and third options for Dingle as the inbounder.
7.5 to play. I was off, if I say it, D's, so now down to 6 seconds. Temple still up by 3, retaining possession.
Another dangerous pass by Temple, and now Dingle cannot move. He's got to hold the spot on the baseline, so Price can really get up and bother him, denying that inbounds to the middle of the floor.
Now the officials might want to check the time here in this situation as it went off of D's. That was good defense from the LaSalle freshmen, so both teams will get called to the bench as men in stripes will take a look at the monitor.
Well, as a coach, that's a good move by John Chinini, just saying, listen, did it 1.5 seconds really go off with a tip and the ball goes out of bounds? Maybe, maybe not, but it gives you another opportunity just to tell your team what to do now. And the strategy has changed for both teams with that ball going out of bounds after it was tipped from the inbounds. And now Fran Dunphy's got to go to his, may get another couple tenths of a second, but Fran Dunphy's got to go back to the playbook and design a different play because of the fact now that Dingle has got to hold it on a dead spot in that corner. Very difficult place to inbound the basketball.
I remember last time, Tim, he threw an outlet that certainly the fans here weren't pleased about. Would you like to see them just operate in the backcourt here?
Well, you got to take what the defense gives you. I mean, there's no problem throwing the ball deep and making the defense pay if everybody's up on the overplay, but that wasn't the case on the last play when Dingle threw the ball away. There was no separation at all between the defender and the offensive player. So they basically got to get some movement. They've got to spread the court to start and get some misdirection, get some movement going a lot of different ways, maybe set a screen-to-screener type play and have someone come back to the ball because most likely LaSalle is going to face guard and switch on everything.
They put 0.6 of a second on, 6.6 to play in overtime. And a foul immediately by Stooks on Alston.
See, I'm surprised there. Jordan Price was kind of in no man's land. He was standing on the A, just looking for cutters coming into his area. Well, you're kind of just hoping someone's going to come in your area to defend, and you're guarding no one. Get up and either double team somebody immediately or get up and pressure the basketball to take away the vision and the inside passing angles of the inbounder. But Price gave Temple an easy opportunity on that play.
So Stooks is fouled out. And Alston back at the line shooting 2 with his Temple Owls leading by 3. Five-point lead for Temple. 5 seconds to go here for Powell. Looking for a quick 2. He's got it with 1.4. 3-point contest. Dingle quickly to Moore. And fouled by Fury.
That was a good heads-up play by Moore. I mean, Temple really didn't get set in anything, but they just got the ball in before LaSalle could get set up.
Here's the highly touted freshman, Alani Moore, looking to seal it for Temple at home.
This looks like it's going to turn out to be a good win by Temple, but LaSalle will be heard from. There's no doubt about it, and certainly John Ginny's disappointed the way the outcome came tonight, but it's got to be very optimistic where this team can go this season. Much improved from a year ago.
And Temple holds on to take down LaSalle by 5 in a classic Philly Big 5 rivalry to open up the season. For Tim Welsh and our entire crew in Philly, this is Dave Leno saying so long for the Liacouras Center, where Temple wins by 5 in overtime. Sports Center is coming up next.